To open Simulink from MATLAB, what you have to do is be on the Home tab in MATLAB, right here, and you see that there's a Simulink block here, so if I click on Simulink, I can click on that. The other thing I can do is I can type Simulink down here in the console. So either one. I usually click on Simulink. And when it starts, it comes up with this window. And so if I want to make a new Simulink model, I will click on blank. So that's what I'm going to do today. And now I'm going to make a voltage divider in Simulink. So the first thing I want to do is find parts for the Simulink model, and I get those from the Simulink library, which is this block right here. So this will bring up my Simulink library, and these are the Simulink blocks that I have access to. So we're going to be using Simulink, Simscape, and Sim Electronics. So I clicked on Simscape, and then click on Sim Electronics, and you can see, click on Electronics, you can see the options that I have here. And the first thing I want is a source. So I'm going to click on source, double click on source, and I'm going to grab a voltage source. So I'm going to bring that in. So I'm clicking and dragging into my new window that I've created, and I create this voltage source. Now I said I'm going to make a voltage divider, so the next thing I need is two resistors. So I can find two resistors by clicking on passive devices here. So a resistor is a passive device. The other thing is, if I don't know exactly where something is, I'm not sure, I don't know what kind of element it is or component it is, I can just type it in here in the search menu, and it'll bring up some of the components that you'll see for a resistor. So right here I've got my resistor. I'm going to bring it in. I clicked and I'm dragging it in, and I'm going to grab another one. So notice when it first comes in, it already is ready to give you, it'll let you input a resistance value. So to start off, I'm going to make both of these 1000 ohm resistors. So I'll click on this one. If I forget to do it like I did for the first one, I can double click and it opens up this window, and I can change the resistance here. Now I want to change the orientation, so I can do that by looking at Edit, and I don't see rotate. Maybe it's under tools. No, I don't see tools, but I know I can, on my Mac I can do Command R to rotate, and it rotates at 90 degrees. It has a menu too, so maybe under the menu, oh, I'm not really sure. So we'll have to, maybe it's Control R on the PC. That would be my guess, but we can look for that, or you could look it up on, just look up MATLAB, rotate a component. And now if I want to connect here, all I did was I clicked on the little thing right here, and I'm just dragging it up and connecting. So it's pretty easy to connect. Now one thing we always need in our circuits is we need a ground. So I'll grab a ground over here. I'm not sure where it is, so I'm going to think it's probably under passive devices. But if I can't find it again, I'll just type in ground. So there's my options for ground. So I want this electrical reference ground, and I'm just going to place it right here so it connects to my circuit. So now I've got my voltage divider. Now in Sim Electronics, these devices are thought of as like physically representing their resistors, and so I need to somehow connect them to some of the simulation tools in Simulink. So the way I do that is under Simscape there are utilities, and so in these utilities I need a few things, and anytime I'm going to run a Simulink model, especially with these kind of components. And so the first thing I need is this solver. So the solver always needs to be connected. It always has to be in your model. And then the other thing is I want to output some voltages. So in order to output some voltages, I need to convert my physical signal value into a simulated value. So this is a physical system to Simulink converter. So I need this over here, and I'm going to measure the voltage. I want to measure it at 3 spots. The top before the first resistor, in between the 2 resistors, and at the bottom. So I'm going to need 3 of these. So instead of grabbing it from over here, I can also copy and paste. So copy and paste, and paste again. So that'll give me 3 of these converters to use. The other thing I need is I need a voltage, I need a voltmeter to measure, and so I can find that if I type voltmeter. It's not there. So where is that voltmeter? Maybe it's a sensor. Let's see. Okay, let's see what we find here. Voltage sensor, that's what I was looking for. So a voltage sensor, I can wire this up now. So I'm going to go from, notice this is positive, so I want this so that my polarity is right. I want this to go in here, and I want this other end to go to ground. Oops. So I want to go from here. Oops, is it going to let me do it? So no, remember, for my voltmeter, I need to measure with respect to a reference. So this is my ground over here. I can even bring it all the way over here. And so I want to do that for each of them, and then this is going to measure my voltage, and then this is my connection from my physical system to Simulink. So I'm going to do this for each of my spots that I want to measure. Oops. Sometimes it's tough to grab the components. Move this over a little bit. And it looks like I might be getting a little messy, but you can always clean it up in the end once you have it where you want it. So here, this gives me my second measurement in between. That's really the one I'm most interested in, right, when I make a voltage divider. Bring this up. And then my final one, I just pasted another one of these in there. And this is going to be measured here at the bottom, right? And my ground is on the other side. I can just connect it there, and then I'm going here. So why did I do this? I want to measure my voltage at each of these points. I have to convert to my physical system to my Simulink system, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on sinks. And sinks are like detectors. So my sinks, I'm going to look at a value. I want to see what value I get. So I can just now display this value, and I'm going to copy and paste the display twice. My computer doesn't usually run this slow, but I've got a lot of stuff going, just like this video. All right, so now my voltage divider is ready to go. I'm measuring my voltage at the top of, before my first resistor, I should see a value here. My second resistor, I should see a value here, and in between the resistors here, and then at the bottom of the circuit, I'll read my value here. Now the only thing I haven't set is my voltage source value, so I'm going to make this 9 volts. Great. Now I need to save it. So I'm going to call this saving all of my stuff in this course folder. There we go. 2016. I'm going to call this voltage divider. It'll save it as an SLX file. So now I'm ready to go, and now I can hit play. And it's saying that I'm not connected somewhere. Let's see if I click this port P. Aha. So this isn't connected yet. That's what it's telling me. So I need to really make sure that I have a connection. There we go. Let's try it again. Okay, now you can see I have my display values. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. But at the top of my circuit right here, that's before the first resistor, I get 9 volts. In between, I have 4.5, and that's because I set both resistor values to 1,000. So I would expect it to be half, and at the bottom, I get a value of 0. So what you might want to do is change your resistor values. Go in here and say, now I'm going to make a 3,000 ohm resistor, and I'm going to make this one a 6,000 ohm resistor. And we can check and see what we're going to get. I would expect if I run this again, I'm still going to have 9 at the top. I'll have 6 in between and 0 at the bottom. And then you can change your resistor values, and it's a great way to test your different circuits that you're designing.